What with the coronavirus restrictions, I would like to have some sympathy for the seagulls who for years have relied on our handouts to feed their children. This poem was inspired by two events that happened to me. One being having food filched from my person by an aggressive seagull, and the other being the remarkable sight of a seagull hanging by its neck in a plastic carrier bag noose from a 40-foot high lamp standard. I did see it, and so did other people. It's also a poem about how people's feelings can be influenced by well-chosen words. This is Seagull Immigrants. A seagull hangs from a lamp standard. How it got there is hard to deduce. Just what balance of circumstance left it twirling in a polythene noose? Revenge killing for a stolen chip? Would someone premeditate slaughter and go to all that time and expense just pour encourager les autres? A calamitous coincidence would seem too far-fetched for this gibbet, which leaves us with only one answer. It's a Damien Hirst exhibit. This put me in mind of the day when I thought death dealt me a drive-by glance as I tucked into a ham roll on the terrace, Market Jew Street, Penzance. All I could see for a second was a new world that was pristine, clean white. As sun-dappled feathers embraced me, was this the so-called tunnel of light? Fluttering wings, an angel perhaps, pulled at my hands with religious zeal. Me, too heavy for heaven maybe, should have plumped for that Weight Watchers meal. My life came back with a caveat that the beak-shaped breach in my torn roll told me you must cover up your croust when eating al fresco in Cornwall. Some say the problem's quite out of hand. In fact, it's decidedly nasty, and St Ives you take out insurance when buying a medium steak pasty. Once the dust and the ham roll had settled, I attached to that seagull no blame. In seeking to provide for her child, wouldn't we all of us do the same? Then I pick up my morning paper, a tabloid that works by detrition, the hard-working taxpayer's Bible made whole by its sins of omission. The first thing I see is the headline, "Worst winter ever, white walkers due." Diabetes is out of control, and there's a Canderol shortage too. First Romanians, Bulgarians, now giant hornets are swarming here. Day after day of these headlines that are served up to instill me with fear. One week they tell me to take statins, then the next to avoid like the plague. They're making me scared of everything except myself and William Hague. It comes with me into the bathroom and I read it while sat on the loo. I'm a martyr to constipation, for a while stuck on page number 2. Later I stare through the window at a lone seagull chick hunched in the rain. Her hard-working mother is tireless as she feeds her again and again. I suppose I've been lucky in life, free school milk and free education, full employment, and with not much done my house is worth a small fortune. National care from cradle to grave. My homeland has not had to face war. All in all, I've had quite a good life. Then I pick up my paper once more and sneer at the beautiful people parading in what passes for fashion. So many problems despite their wealth. I've already lost all compassion. Told of the scams of the so-called poor, more fiddling than Stefan Grappelli. Arrogant, Riley, living the life. I've seen some of them on the telly. That seagull chick is looking distressed. Imagine if Mum never returns. I'll surely ring the RSPB and notify them of my concerns. I recalled that instance in Penzance and my brush with death's dominion. Seagull and I together broke bread in an act of social communion. But my paper seems to imply that it's time for a big conversation, whether seagulls' ASBO behaviour makes them worthy of preservation. David Cameron has suggested that it's time to take these birds out. A gull once stole ham from his sandwich. Oh, the irony. He left the pesto dressing, no doubt. It seems they formed themselves into gangs just like a scene from Hitchcock's The Birds. The article overpowered me. I succumbed in a blitzkrieg of words. Marauders, menace, rats of the sky. So the language began to take hold. Evil, destructive, malignant, foul as overwrought adjectives unfold. These dive-bombing gulls spray feces like some kind of incontinent stooker, and Tippy Hedron gives helpful tips, one of which involves a bazooka. Deterrents mooted like flock-off paint or specially bred super falcons, although it seems the line was drawn at skilled marksmen brought in from the Balkans. I glared at the gull out of the window as she spewed the food into her chick. Been down into town for a hand axe or something for nothing makes me sick. Didn't they used to feed from the sea? It was better when they stayed out there, coming here taking our pigeons' jobs and now just scrounging on our welfare. These gulls can live up to 40 years. They're so fit they'll outlive our obese. Will it extend to other bird types? Imagine being harassed by geese. A pox on these damnable seagulls, lame ducks, sick parrots and ill eagles. A quote from the society page. A shame we can't hunt them with beagles. Despite all we give, they're not grateful. Each one I see seems to be scowling. Hang 'em high from every lamppost, if only to focus their fouling. All passion spent, I need to sit down with tea and a caramel wafer. Calm myself for the 10th time today. Maybe it's time I change my paper.